Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Seizure. We are in our final week of this theme month of 80s fantasies. I've dropped the children's family part of it for this one. But I know from my own personal perspective, I saw this as a kid, and I also know the person who suggested all of this month's episodes. I know that he saw it as a kid because that was why he recommended this and the other three movies in September. We are watching Legend from 1985, Ridley Scott, starring Tom Cruise and Mia Sara. And I am joined, as always, Chuck Moore. Chuck, how's it going?
I'm good. What's with that epic pause there?
Right. Well, this is, in a sort of way, this is sort of an epic tale, right? You know,
A little bit epic, yeah.
a little bit.
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Hey, great. Fantastic. Jason Oliver. Jason.
I'm here. How are you?
Doing great.
Jason's energy. He's really ready to talk about this movie.
Well, are you ready to talk about Tim Curry's abs? His devil abs?
The devil abs that the great Rob Bottin gave him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I could make this a Rob Bottin episode because man, he is the true hero of this movie.
Is that pronounced? I've always heard of Botten. Really?
Bottin. Yeah.
Really? Cool.
Pretty sure. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm usually
He's French fries with a little bit of gravy on them.
but I'm pretty sure it's Bottin.
Well, we'll just call him Rob.
Yeah.
At this point, I feel like we're kind of on a first name basis with everybody that we talk about because we're so popular. Some of our YouTubes are 30,000 views.
Yes, that's right. Hey.
Anyway, so
Legend.
Legend. So this is a story that is kind of, in a way, I kind of feel like it's sort of timeless while also being very classical in terms of the way that it's set up. Because at one point somebody does say the word antenna, and I wanted to look up to see when that word was created, because I'm willing to bet it was not before time.
Snails had antennas.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that is fair. but it was kind of like referenced in a way of like it's of like
Collecting frequency.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know. But anyway, so this is a movie that it's about like it's basically like the bare bones good versus evil.
Yeah.
Darkness versus light.
Yeah.
The darkness
It's like a little bit biblical in a way.
Well, yeah, because darkness is like
The devil.
literally
It's like
fucking the devil. Yeah. And Jack and Lily are essentially like Adam and Eve of sorts, because there's really only one other human character.
Yeah.
She has a pretty nasty end, and so does her baby. Empirical evidence is her baby freezes to death too.
Yeah.
I wonder about that because I figured it was more frozen in time than frozen to death.
Well, I feel like once they fix everything in this movie, they might be able to fix everything.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is kind of Ridley Scott in the wilderness years after his two most famous movies, Alien and Blade Runner.
Yep.
Because
was this his next movie after Blade Runner?
No.
Okay.
At least I don't think it was. I thought. Well, maybe it was actually.
It was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was.
All I know is Ridley Scott took this very fucking seriously.
Yeah.
This is a weird one, right? Because
it is a weird one.
Because I mean, again, this was the one this month that I know I watched when I was a kid. I don't think it's appropriate, but I don't think it's mature enough for adults. I don't know exactly who this movie was made for.
Ridley Scott.
Maybe. I mean, because like it's very clearly like it is written like, because even Ridley Scott says that, he was trying to base it on like what Disney looked like with their like kind of fairy tale type stuff. So like he's very clearly going for a all ages kind of feel, or at least maybe if not like little kids. I mean, like the idea that 10, 12-year olds would want to watch this. And there are moments in this movie where it's like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Jack and Lily have sex in the field. Like when she's talking, like, I mean, there is the door is open that it gets a little bit more than just, oh, they're frolicking and being, kissy face. But it feels like it would not have necessarily been something that you would have put in a movie for kids at that
Kids
time.
would not pick up on that though.
Yeah, that's fair.
They would not pick up on that.
I mean, I thought it felt very like a little kissier than normal, but it didn't seem like full on fucking.
Well, no, I mean,
He wasn't putting the horn back on the horse, if you know what I mean.
Well, I mean, this is Ridley Scott, and there's like 20 different versions, I'm sure, of this movie. I mean, one of them
there are three different versions.
Well, one of them surely has, like a penetration scene. But
you bring up an interesting thing that I wanna talk about too, because all the movies that we watched as children, right? We often say now, like, I can't believe they put that. I wouldn't do that for kids these days. But when we were that age, we didn't pick up on any of that shit. Kids just don't pick up on that shit. So all like the censorship people these days that are like, you can't show this to children, or you can't, whatever. I don't want to get too into the weeds on this. It's just when you become an adult, you start to apply knowledge that you have to this material that you wouldn't have had when you were 10.
Yeah, but I mean,
11.
that's fair. But at the same time, it's like in 1985, a movie about somebody's innocence, like they make a big point out of Lily's innocence, right? Like
They do.
And it's like,
But you wouldn't pick up on that. I really.
well, no, I'm not. But I'm saying that it's like they would have just not had it like that. It wouldn't have been like, it would have been like her and Jack holding hands more likely than, that's why I think this movie is a little bit more mature, or at least intends to be a little bit more mature, but it doesn't go all the way there. Like it's
saying that they did have sex, and that is what has turned her dark.
No, well, no,
Good.
no,
It's innocence lost.
No. Her innocence is no. Her innocence later is bought essentially,
But did she have sex or not?
No, I don't think she did. But I'm just saying it's just it comes across as things you wouldn't have expected in a movie that would have been.
It's the same as the Bible, though. Like the taking of the apple, it's insinuating shit that isn't just taking an apple out of a tree.
Sure.
So, like, I would just put it aside for the story. Sorry, Jason, if you have a thought there.
But that never made sense to me. Like the Adam and Eve story it never made sense to me, because if like the temptation, right? But they have to have sex, or do they only have sex?
But it's still innocence lost, right?
Yeah.
And that's what was lost when she took the apple, right? Am I wrong about that?
I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a weird myth to begin with, because maybe God just was like, you're just supposed to hang out together forever and not have kids.
Right. We shouldn't
Right.
even get into this, honestly.
But I mean,
well,
but I mean,
there
it's
is an
well,
element here.
I think it's very biblical. I think this movie is incredibly biblical. Yeah, and I think that it makes sense, right, to have this conversation. But yeah, what is the actual Adam and Eve story trying to convey? Right? Is it like a temptation that you succumb to, and what is that temptation? She eats the apple from the tree of knowledge.
Right, which is to know more than she's allowed to know, is what I thought.
Right.
And then it was like to learn disobedience was the concern.
But it's like, well, why is that even a temptation, right?
Well, you're gonna have to ask religion.
But that's what's supposed to introduce the concept of free will, right? And then it all like tumbles from there. But
it's like a house of fucking cards over there.
But
but it's interesting, though. I had never really perceived the connection of the apple to sex. But maybe it is, in a way, and maybe that is like I mean, maybe I'm not super naive for not thinking of it that way in 45 years, but maybe that is what it is, because really I don't think they have children until after the fall, and that's when they have their kids, Cain and Abel, and all that shit, right? So maybe they were supposed to just be like sexless eunuchs until they decided to get it on, and that was the fall of man, right? Which is so stupid, and I don't think that this movie is trying to say that, but I do think they're trying to reflect some of it.
Yeah, and I think her touching the Pegasus is similar to grabbing the apple, because
it's not a Pegasus, it's a unicorn.
Thank you, unicorn. Sorry. There's no wings there.
Horn.
Yeah, no, you're right.
My bad. I don't know why I did that.
I mean,
but it is.
I have to call on my horse friends to really explain this to you.
This is
Let's
like
call it Artax. Artax, hey.
This is the $1 million pyramid or whatever that game's called, where you can phone a horse friend.
Yeah, horse friend.
But anyways, yes, I do equate her going, and I know I'm getting a little.
It is forbidden for you to touch a unicorn.
It's the same thing.
But they didn't tell her. She didn't know that.
Well,
Jack said,
she
no, you
is certain. Yeah, he does. He's like, no, you can't do that. And then afterwards, he's like, you will risk your mortal soul.
Right, which is
or your immortal soul,
which is totally like Adam and Eve. Like that is absolutely.
Well, I mean, it is.
But she didn't know the rules, and she didn't.
He told her no. He did tell her no, but he didn't.
Down there, like, and the horse was like about to be touched.
The horse came to her.
I know.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "No, it's a forbidden." And it's like, well, why didn't you tell me?
Why did the horse go to her if it's so forbidden?
Why didn't you? If it's so important, like that should be the first thing you tell me. It's like, I'm about to show you something beautiful, but here are the gremlin rules. And the first only rule is don't fucking touch the unicorn. I mean, come on.
Well, okay,
he's
so
just
this is
as lame as she is.
Absolutely, but this is movie rules, right? Like if you made it too explicit, she wouldn't have gone and done it. But it's just like the book from the Never-Ending Story.
Maybe she would have, though. You know,
it's like the book from the Never-Ending Story. Like, you can't have this. You can't read it. Like,
well, there are two things.
I'm gonna have it, and I'm gonna read it.
I'm taking this position so strongly because Susan was you guys when she was like, oh, you know, it's all her fault, you know, because she remembers this movie. And this is one she saw.
I'm not saying it's all her fault.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not the
Susan
little troll guy.
Man, Susan was almost like calling her the B word because it's like she's like puts all the weight of this unicorn getting chopped. It's
what's
bitch.
The B word?
Okay. Bitch is the B word.
I mean, why are we? I mean, we were just talking about fucking. I mean, it's like why are we holding
it's
back?
It's both of their faults.
But yeah,
it is. Sure. I mean, it is. Now, I will say a couple of things about Lily. One is she is pernicious. I mean, like she is. Wait, that's not the word. Precocious was the word I was trying to say. Precocious. She is very precocious in the movie. Like she teases the one Nell by like pulling down her clothesline. She's
making her think it's a pixie.
Yeah, it's all very. She's very playful, and she is kind of precocious in that way. Two, in one of the versions of this movie, she's actually an interloper. Here, in one of the versions of the movie, she is in this world, but she is not of this world. it's like her imagination or something that she's.
I hate that version. Let's just talk about this.
But I'm just saying it's like that could explain why she doesn't.
Cut.
That could explain why she doesn't know that rule, and then realizes only when it's too late. I shouldn't have done a thing. Or something, but whatever.
I think I've only seen this movie twice, maybe 3 times in my life. So I think I need to mention this. I did not grow up with this movie. I think the first time I saw this movie, I probably rented it at VH1 Video. Because Adam probably said, "Oh, it's awesome, the devil."
Oh, I know he
Curry
did.
And I know
he loved this movie.
So I was like, "Oh, I'll watch it." And I honestly, I didn't think much of it. It looks great. It didn't look so great on my 13-inch TV on VHS when I was 18 years old or whatever. So I kind of dismissed it. And I've seen it since. I don't remember. But I watched it with an open heart this time around on a much, much bigger television. And yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie to look at.
It's fucking busy, man.
There's a lot. It is a very rich film in its production, but don't have a lot of great things to say about it otherwise. But honestly, it's so good in that department. It is beautiful. I will watch it again just to have it on and look at how beautiful it is, because it truly is a magnificently looking movie. It is far and above the best looking movie of the 4 we've covered this month. And it's one of the best looking fantasy films I've ever seen. So
I'm with you. This movie, to me, since we're talking about our history with it, I did watch it as a kid, and I watched it because the butler from Clue was the fucking devil in it. Right? That is why I watched it. And I remember seeing it was on HBO because I didn't see it when it came out. It was probably a couple years later or whatever. And it was all about Tim Curry for me. So this is the first time I've watched it in a long time where I really paid attention to everything else that's going on in it, not just watching it for the moments.
Tim Curry disappears in that role too. It's hard to see and hear him.
I can hear him at times, but you're right. He's very.
I don't think that if you knew, you would know. And if you didn't know, you wouldn't know.
You would have to have seen something with him in it talking very recently to be you know what I mean? Yeah, you're right. You wouldn't recall. It doesn't look like him.
Even if I just watched Clue an hour before to finish watching Clue, I don't know that I would know. I don't.
That's fair. I've always known, so I can't really speculate, right? I could only assume that I would maybe pick up on it, but
they do kind of that low bassy thing with his voice too. So,
yes, it is an octave or 2 lower or something. They do something with it.
Somebody out there surely has cut in lines from Rocky Horror into his devil appearance, right?
Steph said, "Do the time warp." Twice during this movie. I have another one that I'll bring up later that I think is pretty funny.
Okay.
My intercut between 2 movies that you had one last week, but
gotcha. No, yeah. So basically. Everything in this world is perfect. It's it's such a perfect world that nature is overgrown. Does that make sense? Because there are times where it's I'm feeling a little claustrophobic in the great outdoors here.
My nose itched, dude.
Oh yeah, that was
because of all the
pollen and all the stuff in
there.
Now I looked at that and I thought, oh, that's to tell you the world is alive. It's constantly. It's constantly reproducing,
it is hammering home the fertile, the fertile ground,
which is why I think there's a little extra romance
but you wouldn't
between the 2 characters. Yeah,
I agree. I could see that. I don't know if I agree with it, but I could see that.
Yeah. But everybody,
hear me out. Let's just say that there is that little extra romance. I don't like it. I don't like the subtext of that, right?
Like she had sex and now she is not
now everything's
innocent,
gone
and now
shit.
the devil
Yeah.
will come
Oh yeah,
for her.
no, I mean that's not. Yeah, I mean, the point is that he becomes so attracted to her because she's so innocent, and then he
Right.
ruins that innocence by giving her something she shouldn't have, which is
Right.
opulence.
I don't think that the what is his name in this? I mean, I want to call him the devil, but he's the darkness. I
The
think.
darkness, yeah.
The darkness.
Yeah, I don't think that he would be. As
He believes in a
interested.
thing called love.
Yeah, just listen to the rhythm of the heart. He wouldn't be as interested in her if she weren't innocent.
As pure. Yeah, I mean, and that's. I'm not necessarily saying that they, but there is certainly more
I agree.
than chasteness.
Fair.
And I think too, like even Tom Cruise's recognition later of the deception being pulled by Uma is he can Una, man, the glitter budget on this movie was about Everyone has glitter on
just,
their faces.
just under a strip club's budget.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah,
God,
they
I
had
know.
edible glitter everywhere.
So much glitter.
Sorry,
like-
Jeff. Little inside baseball there. Go ahead.
No,
Jason.
so much glitter. Yeah, agreed. Like in the
It's
same
everywhere.
amount of glitter.
Tom Cruise probably still has some in his butthole from that sex he had on the. Wait, somebody else take over.
I was just gonna say that Una is played by Annabelle Lanyon, who the only other thing I've seen her in was Dream Demon. That's a
Nice.
good one.
She's kind of Bowie-esque, or like
I
don't know how to-
thought she was really cute.
I did too.
she does the pixie
she
really
took
well.
up
Yeah.
like 80% of the glitter budget, but yeah.
Yeah, because she's throwing it around. She's got it all over herself. Like, I mean, yeah, there's so much glitter in this movie.
But that's just to say, like, I think that Forest Child Jack can see through her trick because the innocence isn't there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
because
think-
Una is not. Once they realize that she is a fairy,
Yeah.
they are not happy, or like
No, they're mad about that shit.
like the little trolls are not, because despite what
Yeah, Gump
some
especially is like
Gump's the best. I love Gump.
yeah,
Gump is the best. Yeah.
but like they are like fairies are nasty little creatures in true fairy tales.
We saw that in Labyrinth as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, is she disguising herself as a will-o'-the-wisp? Is that how she's disguising herself as the
I
little
don't
light
know.
bulb? Like,
So
Yeah.
it's a little light thing. Yeah. Could
Little
be.
Tinkerbell.
yeah, will-o'-the-wisp. Yeah, it is.
Will-o'-the-wisp, yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Like our
Ignis fatuus.
Ignis
yeah.
fatuus. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Discussed
So,
that recently.
We're just so up on our folklore, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
but really, what's the Garden of Eden all about, guys?
Hey, okay, so let's real quickly set the stage here.
Yeah.
Because we haven't done that yet. Jack is a forest child. Mia Sarah is a princess, presumably from somewhere. And
She's certainly dressed like it. Yeah. Yeah.
She's the interloper thing makes sense because the one lady, her friend, mentions like you shouldn't spend your time here, and she's like, "Oh, I love to be in the forest," as opposed to me thinking like her ritzy castle, but maybe it's another world, whatever. But
She like loves to have the forest in her. Am I right? Oh.
ooh, okay, I just got derailed by horse friends.
Okay, real quick, before we get back on track. Well, wow, the forest is hung like a horse, friend. Anyway, can I just say, like, Mia Sarah is so beautiful in this movie. Like, they really got somebody that was like, you can just see the life in her. You know, like she
plays evil well too, though.
boy, yeah.
All of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're not talking about. Jeff was imagining himself in the forest half this movie, I think. But yes, she does. She plays all of those.
She would have been about
17.
16,
16 or 17.
Yeah.
But anyway, stage setting. the darkness somehow realizes that unicorns, which he had forgotten about in the past, right, for some reason, are the source of all the light that invaded his dark world. So again, a biblical thing, and then there was light, right? But he knows that if they kill the unicorns, because of the wall of text in the beginning of the movie, that the light lives within their hearts, and once they die, that will basically bring the world to darkness. There'll be no more days. So he sends Blix, and she grabs two other dudes. I can't remember, but two other goblins. Screwball.
One is definitely a pig man, and the other we reveal wears a pig man's mask or
He's
helmet.
Blender.
But he's actually a elf that has, or not elf.
Yeah, I think he's an elf. I think they're elves.
Dwarf gone astray. Yeah.
Yes. Neither here nor there, because that story never gets really told why he ends up on that side. But they go to kill the unicorns. When the princess does her bad thing, which is to walk up to the unicorn and try to touch it, this stalls the one unicorn. Right? She tries to touch it.
Stop touching my monkey.
Stop touching the unicorns. That's when Blick strikes the first one with a poison dart, which eventually, I think it just knocks it out, really. And she comes up and lops the unicorn's horn off.
Which is called an alicorn.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an alicorn. Yeah. No. Yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. They actually even refer to it as that in the movie. Well, the other thing is it actually does kill the horse, because the mare, because they kill the stallion. The mare is when they discover that there's been a kill, or like once everything goes to shit and the snowstorm comes and everything, they find the mare like pacing around and actually like grieving for the stallion.
Yes.
And yeah, so
well,
which by the way, oh, go ahead. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Either it poisoned it or it definitely died when its thing was cut off.
Yeah, I mean it's dead at some point. Yeah. Now they do say, like, because Blix like thinks, hey, I did it. I did the thing. Here you go, darkness. Here's your alicorn for you. And he's like, yeah, you're full of shit, because there's still another one. And Blix is like, it's just a mare. The woman is useless, which underestimates the usefulness of the female character, which is a female character
that's
that
only reproduction, dumbass.
Right. And
the most important thing in the universe.
Right. But it's also the female character that tricks him. So he is unable to achieve the power or do the things he wants to do, because one, a mare is still alive, and the woman that he, I guess, kind of lust after ends up tricking him.
Yeah, but the mare being alive is signified by there still being a day.
Yes,
right. He knows that one is still alive because there's still daytime.
Well, he's like, the dawn is coming, and yes. It's like, look over there, you idiots. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is, there are rules that are being followed here. So he sends them back out.
Mm-hmm. Now, what they do this time is they capture him, because he wants to be the one who strikes the blow on the last unicorn, which is a separate movie around the same time.
It is a separate movie.
It absolutely is.
Man, the mid 80s, man, like, you got Legend, you got The Last Unicorn, you got Lisa Frank all over the place. You know, it's like you got unicorns going nuts at this time.
I remember Lisa Frank being sock monkeys.
No,
that's Lisa Frank too, right?
She was the Trapper Keeper.
The Trapper Keeper art. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was the sock monkeys?
Look up Lisa Frank. There was a documentary on her recently.
I know her stuff was on clothes in Lucky Store when I worked there. I'm just. Go ahead, continue.
Anyway, so like basically, meanwhile, Lily has discovered that the winner. So Tom Cruise I'm just going to call him Tom Cruise because he's just Tom Cruise. Like, he's just Tom Cruise.
So, all right, wait. About him, Susan said there was like a rumor of a nose job around this time. Is that a thing that you guys remember?
I don't know. He's always had a big giant nose.
I know. I don't remember anything about nose. We'll tell you this. He's had his teeth capped.
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Because they don't look like that anymore.
No. Yeah. I like that they didn't even like bother with like a British accent. It's like just talk whimsically. It's like, okay. It's like just be whimsical. Don't try the British accent, Tom.
Yeah, just be good looking.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He doesn't really have to do much in this movie.
No, except for he's the most important character in terms of what they are told by what he's told by a horse friend.
But Lily is clearly the most interesting character.
Oh yeah, by far. I mean, she's the lead of this movie.
Yeah,
really. And Tim Curry is just the most badass thing of any movie at this time.
The kick-ass dragon, for sure.
100%. 100%. So yeah, but basically, like, she follows Blix to the point where she hears what's going on. And so she goes and comes across what was the guy's Brown Tom, which
Brown
makes me
Tom. I love that name.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's kind of Tolkien in a way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they find Brown Tom, who is watching after the mayor while Tom Cruise, Gump, Una, and Billy Barty go off to get weapons. It's like, you're going to need weapons if you're going to be the hero here. And he's like,
I've never even seen a weapon.
Yeah,
basically.
It's like, yeah, he's so crunchy granola in this. He has no idea. Like, even it's like, and Gump is right. It's like, you're going to learn. You're going to have to, because the mayor has told him that there needs to be a great champion that will win back the day and win back the alicorn so that they can save the daylight and the brightness and all of life. And Gump and the two dwarves are like, well, you're it. It's like you're the only other human in the story.
You're not me.
Yeah.
And I know where to get you some armor. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. And so this is when they find out that Una is a fairy, not a will-o'-the-wisp. And this is when they get mad at her. Right?
Well, they don't find out until
a little bit later.
No,
that's
Tom
when they're
Cruise
in
knows. You're right. Tom Cruise finds out that because she is able to basically get him into this treasure trove of golden tunics and swords and shit.
She's like,
whatever stupid armor he's
like,
wearing.
Don't rat. You know?
Yeah.
Get stitches, bitch. Is what she says.
Pretty much.
Verbatim.
Yeah, verbatim in this movie made ostensibly for children. Yeah. Snitches get stitches, bitch.
Is it Brown Tom that they leave behind?
Yes.
Because he's so great when he's deflecting all the shit. It's so fun.
And then he thinks he's gotten shot in the head.
Yes. They shot me in my brain pan.
So this is when, outside, that's when Mia Sarah has like found, and it's like, oh my God, I made a mistake. Cause like Brown Tom's like, you're the blame for this. And she's like, I didn't know the rules. And that's when then Blix and crew show up to take the mare and then also the female unicorn.
Oh,
because they also get the girl.
Yes. Yeah. But it is they're shooting their poison darts and he's deflecting them all, gets shot in the brain pan, and they chase her down.
Well, they're not shooting them with poison darts. They're just bow and arrowing him.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. Bow and arrows. Yes, you're right. Bow and arrows.
He's good at.
He's good at this. Like, man, Brown Tom is no slouch here.
No, he's not.
He's fucking Luke Skywalker.
He's even going between the legs. He's almost like I can't even American ninjaing this shit, like catching two arrows at once and throwing them back at people.
Pretty much.
But sorry, I don't.
No, that's fine. So yeah, they capture and they take her and the mayor back to Darkness Land, and Tim Curry's like, "Ooh, I'm kind of into this chick." And I'm kind of like, I get it, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
and Ferris Bueller's also like, yep.
Yep.
Interesting
And-
story. Her first husband in real life is Sean Connery's son,
Yes.
Jason Connery.
Even as interesting, she's now married to Brian Henson.
Brian Henson. Man, everything is connected together.
Whoa, that is wild. Huh.
The whole month has just collapsed
Is there a
into itself.
connection? Is there a connection to Henson in every movie? Like, I know this one's tenuous, right? Like, I don't think Henson has anything to do with it, but Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, they did both of those.
I don't know that Henson had any Well, yeah, there is a connection to Neverending Story. Deep Roy. Deep Roy is uncredited in Dark Crystal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
there you go.
stunts, and I think he played some random weirdos in that. Yeah.
Some random weirdos.
Yeah.
Not just a Deep Roy weirdo, a random weirdo.
Yeah.
Some random weirdo in
I love
Dark
Deep
Crystal,
Roy.
Yeah.
Deep Roy's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, he's the best part of Tim Burton's remake of Willy Wonka.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I've blocked all of that.
There aren't very many good, and there aren't very many good things about that movie.
Yeah, man, I've shut that all the way out of my Yeah.
It's bad. It's a pretty bad movie.
Anyway,
All right. So back to the movie. Roll the film.
yeah. So anyway, so basically, Tom Cruise, Una, and crew are on their way, and they end up falling
The dark
into
tree. Oh, sorry.
Well, they end up falling into a hole and into a dungeon, essentially.
Which is where Blunder
Was thrown when he was trying to usurp darkness.
That was a funny scene too.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Yeah.
Because originally it was Blix who was going like, "Hey, I've got the thing the darkness wants. I'll take over." And then darkness shows up and she's like tosses it down. It's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And Blunder picks it up and is like, "Ah!"
She didn't have the gumption to. She was playing big in front of the other ones.
Right.
Blunder is a blunderous idiot.
Right.
He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll take over." But yeah, they have the one lumbering dude in the leather mat, like the Gimp. He's a giant Gimp, right? Who lives in the basement of this cave, which is just a more lower cave with fire and stuff. And he's cooking whatever is down there. I don't know what he's doing with it, who he's feeding, himself maybe, but he's like barbecuing them all.
Yeah.
So yeah, Blunder reveals himself to the group like, we're all screwed. He's like, I don't have time to tell you my story right now, but we're kind of fucked. And this is when Uma is revealed as a pixie, because he's like, Jack is like, send Uma, she can carry the key. And they're like, she's too small.
She's too small, right? And then she's like, you're gonna get stitches, bitch.
Yeah, bitches get stitches.
Yeah, it's the one not in well.
Jacks get attacked.
But then she's like, well, all right, I'll do it, but you got to kiss me.
And so he gives her a little peck on. It's like, you call that a kiss?
That's not a kiss. Yeah.
That's not a kiss.
And then she tries to pretend she's Mia Sarah, and he almost falls for it. And then he's like, no, I know you're just a pixie fairy or whatever.
I mean, technically, he knows that because he saw it.
Right, but he's like, I'm not falling for your tomfoolery.
But there is like,
I'm not falling for your
too.
Tom Cruise foolery.
Falling for your ways.
There's enchantment there too, not just that she changed. There's like magic around the change.
It's a glamour. Yeah, it's glamour magic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's David Bowie. I told you.
But then, so he says he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, fine, I'll do it anyway. And she does it anyway. She gets them out.
I mean, well, I guess she wouldn't, but everybody else is going to get eaten. So maybe she didn't want to see that.
I mean, it feels like these are her only friends at this point.
Probably,
What's she going to do,
Yeah.
Who's she going to fuck with after this, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this.
I mean, I would begrudgingly do shit like this with friends too. Maybe not in the most dire of situations.
She's like, let's see what I can
give
get
your
out
friends
of
a
it.
little bit of shit. Yeah, and then
Call
you
my
do it.
bluff. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
fucking, I'll do it. Yeah.
That's
Fine.
Fine.
Kick the dirt and run home for dinner. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. So they get out, and so meanwhile, Darkness is like, I'm digging this chick, and he gets the idea that he has to like basically corrupt her, and so he tries corrupting her first with like a bunch of like jewels, and you can kind of see her; she's kind of going for it, but it's the dancing dress.
I love the dancing dress.
Yeah, that's really cool. That is very, very cool. And basically, when it appears onto her after because it's like the dress dances with her for a little bit, and then it basically merges with her, and then at that point, she's like goth. Mia Goth.
Mia Goth.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
You got there quicker than I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Anyway. And young Jeff discovered things about himself that day when he saw this movie for the first time.
Jeff touched the unicorn for sure.
Spooky chicks. Yep. He touched the unicorn. He touched his horn.
He discovered his horse friend that day.
It has magic.
You can see him wielding the darkness.
Yeah, like that little goblin guy. He's like, this is the best.
Yeah.
Maybe this movie is all about sex, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, everything you just said probably closer to the truth than you'll want to know. Anyway, so basically, he's like, yeah, your soul is corrupted. You're stuck here with me. And she's like, nah, that's not cool. And he's like, no, yeah, for real. And she's like, nah.
Nah, he's like, let's sit down and talk for a while. She's
Yeah,
like, no, I'd rather stand.
Oh, and it's kind of funny. Like he tries being sweet, and then she'll say no, and then he like snaps at her, and then he tries like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, it's a good performance from Tim Curry. Underneath all of that makeup,
he's fantastic in this movie. Okay. So I don't know if we want to talk about this first. Maybe we'll wait for Jason. So while he's talking her into joining the darkness, right? The dark side. There's a rescue going on with Jack and friends who have escaped with the key, and now they're going to take Blunder out of his pot.
Yeah,
and they have
they're making a little blunder stew.
Yeah, they're making a blunder stew. He's the dude. Yeah, I guess he's not baking him. Maybe he's boiling him. I don't know. But they have this giant fight in there. But while they're having the giant fight, or after the giant fight, Jack realizes that light, I think Gump probably tells him this, that light is the only true way to kill the darkness.
Yep.
Makes sense, right? Like you have to turn on the light to make the darkness disappear. Pretty literal there. But he comes up with a plan based on the reflection from...
They're like giant plates. Oh,
yes.
But he remembers she holding up
held
like
up
something,
an earring or something. Yeah.
And it reflected onto Mia Sarah's face. Yeah.
Yes. And it reflected onto her face. So he's like, I have a plan. We're basically going to reflect the shit out of the light to kill the devil. So while
bring the daylight to the night.
Yeah.
Yep.
The daylight to the night. But here's the intercut I want to do. As we were just talking about, at that time, the darkness is trying to talk to Mia, or what is her name in this movie? Lily. Thank you. Little Lily.
By the way, I think in the movies, like in the little text crawl at the beginning of the movie that explained everything, I think they spelled her name Lily, but everything everywhere else it's spelled Lili.
Interesting.
Like on
L.I.?
It's like Tanny and the T-Rex.
Yeah.
That's odd.
But anyway, she offers to kill the unicorn, to which the darkness has like the greatest laugh in cinema since Charlton Heston in Planet of the Apes. And I want to have those two like laughing at each other in an intercut.
Oh my gosh, do it.
Would be so funny. It'd be so good.
Oh, it might work too, because it might be like
they might be facing each other.
right.
Shoulder perspective. Otherwise, you'd have to flip one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's directionally right. It
think
was
it is.
immediately what I thought of. I was like, that's the best laugh since that laugh
Yeah.
in a movie.
Yeah, basically she's like, yeah, I'll join you, but I get, and so it's like at this point, you can tell the devil's thinking with those wrong horns.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
He's
come
not
on,
too
dude.
bright. He's not too bright.
Well, I mean, let's face it.
Darkness is dim, man.
Yeah.
But I mean,
good one.
Yeah. It is the dimmest one. He's done all this
He's so
time
dim,
trying
he's
to
dark.
convince her to come over to the dark side, and she has rebuffed him at every
turn.
Every turn, and now all of a sudden she's like, "Yeah, I'll kill a unicorn." It's like, what?
Yeah.
What?
It's like, wow, this worked better than I thought it would.
If you did a
It
space,
must be my abs.
yes, I'd laugh into existence. If you did a Spaceballs remake of this, he would be the dimmest one.
Oh,
like
yeah.
for sure,
Oh, yeah.
not the
dimness.
darkness.
He'd be the dimness, yeah,
The
for sure.
dimness. But
it's
when
like,
is
well,
now?
Yeah, and when like he begins to take over, it's like, it's not that dark. No, it's not that cold either.
I'm surrounded by idiots. Sorry.
But he's like, sure, yeah, that's great. Can't wait to see it.
Now, meanwhile, Jack
It's going to be kinky foreplay.
Yeah.
Kill this unicorn.
We will bathe in that blood.
Yeah.
Do it.
Now, Jack is also aware that things are going south with her. He doesn't like because
Puck or whatever his name is. It's a Puck.
Gump.
He reminds me of Puck from Midsummer's Night Dream. Anyway,
I was going to say from Alpha Flight. That doesn't look like that is
from Real World.
Gump
He's a bike messenger
to shoot her. He's like, do it. Dude.
Oh yeah, when they get to the big ceremony,
Yeah.
like Gump is ready to kill a bitch.
Yeah.
He's like,
which is kind of funny. He says like probably the smartest thing in the movie just
and he
before
contradicts
that.
himself. Yeah.
He's like, judge her with your heart, not with your eyes, which is what everyone should always kind of do. Like, take in all the information, calculate. Don't just look at her and assume she's evil. And he's like,
come on, man. It's like spooky chicks are not evil, guys. It's like, I'm Tom Cruise in that moment. It's like, oh, hang on a second. Wait,
I trust you.
It's like, yeah. do the be a goth thing for me.
Yeah, like
on his birthday, they reenact like the whole
when they wake up, he's like, so did you keep the dress? And that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
God. It's like,
on his birthday. You got that black lipstick?
Yeah, she does. They relive the whole thing, and he gets to be the devil. He gets to be
to be Ad-Man.
God, that's good. That's got to be in the Spaceballs remake too.
So basically they've positioned all these shiny plates. Now, of course, one of the is it Brown Tom who ends up falling asleep at the top?
It's him or the other
at the
one.
top. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be. Yeah.
He gets so tired because he climbs up like a giant well almost, and he's very heroic in doing this thing that nobody else in that moment could have done.
And not only did
but then he gets really sleepy.
Well, he does. He not only does he have to climb it, but he has to take the shield up there, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty difficult. Yeah, but he does his job because
up to a point he does his job.
Well, that's where
Una's got to come in and it's like, hey, wake up, dipshit.
I keep calling her Uma. I'm such a moron. Anyway.
No, well, if only David Letterman was here to.
That's why I was doing the Una thing earlier.
All right. So God, that's a 30-year-old joke now. Do you believe that?
It's hard to believe.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, God. All right, I'm bummed out now. I'm just gonna go.
Worst friends.
All right, hey, here we go. Let's go.
Jeff's just gonna. I was gonna say he's just gonna sit there.
Just sink into the.
He's gonna sink in the sadness.
Anyway,
This used to be such good, strong hands.
this used to be such a good, strong podcast.
I hope anyone who's listening to this episode has heard the whole month because we've done some callbacks.
We've done some callbacks for sure. For sure. But anyways,
We have lore on this podcast, so
Yeah, we do.
folks. Start from the beginning, catch up.
Yeah. Anyway,
Or like episode
or maybe
80
don't.
behind.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to go all the way back. You can go halfway back. Let's do that. Let's say.
Well, what about they won't get my adjacent to Jason joke then?
That's one of my favorites that was ever on the show.
Wait, you
honestly.
didn't
one
say
of your
that.
best.
I just
Yes,
said
he
it.
did.
No, you said it. It was you. But I'm just saying it now, so they won't get it unless they go all the way back.
You're
was one
not
of my
going to get it.
favorite
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I was adjacent to Jason on that explanation because
Yes, you
our windows are next to each other. Anyway,
I should have said this adjacent to Jason. So now twice. So now you don't know the lore.
we put on
Coming
panties.
now, welcome. But if you want to get all the jokes, got to go all the way back, and
Yes.
it might be worth it.
Anyway,
Okay, sorry.
all right. So yeah. So basically, he's like, I'm gonna shoot an arrow at my gothed out babe, or no, at the last second. I'm gonna hit the devil, because what she does at the last second is, instead of bringing the sword down onto the unicorn's alicorn, she hits the chains, and it breaks free. He's like, "Whoa!" And then he shoots him in the throat. He's like, "Whoa!" It's like, yeah, that's not enough, Tom. But then they send the light in.
Well, before that though, he
Jesus, I love
slides.
it.
What's that?
Jeff just blew through it, and then they shine
he
the light
did.
in.
No, don't
Like,
shine the light in, because he goes down the little zip.
Oh, that's right. He swings into
I
action.
think
Yeah.
the most like physically scary moment in this movie is when the darkness charges at Tom Cruise, like, oh my
Horns
god,
and all.
he doesn't bore him, but he gets him on either side of him and pins him to the rock
Yep.
wall. Yeah, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
that is formidable. Like, that's scary.
You mess with the
Yes.
darkness, you get the horns.
Yeah.
Yes.
He ain't dimness there. Yeah.
No. Like, that's pure adrenaline from the darkness right there, for sure.
Yeah, it's scary. It's super scary. It's like, whoa. And then they have to fight. They have a little bit of a
A tussle, a
tussle.
little
And Jack is
fisticuffs.
holding his own, but he ain't gonna win this fight unless that sunshine gets down the chimney. Yeah.
And he gets the alicorn out of the flaming water that doesn't.
Yeah, I wish his hand came up like blistered and burned.
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me. I was like, it looks like it's really, really hot.
Well, considering the movie is 25 minutes longer in the director's cut,
Maybe.
I can't. Maybe there's explanation as to he could put his hand in there because he's not as pure or something. You know, it's like he can survive that.
No, I would think that if he's pure, we would be able to. So maybe.
Maybe.
The fires of hell
Ooh,
cannot harm you if you are pure of heart and innocence.
Yeah.
So they didn't have sex. Confirmed.
Right.
Confirmed. They are confirmed for virgin.
Yes.
But it still annoyed me if they. Anyway,
Well, I mean,
I'm not
yeah.
going down that road again. But yeah, he stabs him with the unicorn horn. What's
He
it called?
throws it like into his gut, the alicorn.
Alicorn. Yeah. So he throws that into his gut, and then the light comes in,
light.
and then he's trying to like hang on to not be blasted out into space. And
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because there's a moment
he's going to end up over in the never-ending story if he.
There's a
just
moment
blasts
He's
earlier
gonna get
where they
picked up by
close the
Romulus.
doors.
Sorry.
There's a moment earlier where he closed the doors to his chamber, and that is like, it seems like it's a moment of, oh shit, you know, like how is the sunlight going to get through? But then they just like ignore that and
The sunlight
just
blows
the
it
door
open.
off the
Yeah.
edges. Yeah.
Well,
Some
the
powerful
power of
sunlight.
life. The power of life compels this
Compels
movie.
you.
This movie to do this. But then Jack then goes up and like cuts off his hands.
And the darkness like, ooh,
Hey,
I just sliced off my hand.
I was waiting for it. And Jason was just like,
I was the dimness. I'm like, I got my like microphone cords all tangled. I was trying to untangle them. I was like,
the fucking dimness over there.
yeah. So basically, So like, but right now, Lily is still affected by some darkness magic, and so she's like all passed out, like comatose. And there was a scene.
We forgot to talk about her ring.
Yeah,
you
that's
were
what I was about to
bring it
go.
up.
Yeah. So earlier in the movie, when they were in the field frolicking, I'm still going to say slightly less chaste than typical. She says, and she takes off her ring and she's like, whoever finds this ring, I will marry. And she tosses it over a waterfall into a little pond. And Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise, like, I'm going to jump off this fucking waterfall and go after it, jump off this cliff. I demand to do my own stunts. I don't know if he did back then, but he probably would now. He certainly would now. And he couldn't find it then, and he almost died because the alicorn was cut off and everything went snowy, and he got stuck under ice.
right.
So now he takes her back to that place while she's like comatose, and he's like, I'm gonna go find that ring and I'll break the spell. And this time he finds it right away.
While he's doing it too, the alicorn is placed back on the unicorn and it is reborn.
Yeah.
Or brought back to life. However.
Yeah, and everything is back to being sunshiny and happiness.
Yeah.
Rainbows everywhere.
So it does have kind of like a kid movie ending.
Yeah, because he finds because like nothing dies really. It just all gets returned. Everything's fine. The horse isn't dead. Artax is like, hey buddy, I'm with you. Yeah. We're all good here. Anyway, so then he finds the ring. He slips it on her finger. She wakes up, and then they walk off into the sunset, waving to their forest friends. Now, or sunrise, I guess. Well, I don't know. Whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Off to the distance. Now, in the director's cut,
I don't know what happens in the director's cut.
So in the director's cut, she's okay. So Lily wakes with Jack trying to convince her she was merely dreaming, but she is ultimately unconvinced. They confess their true love to each other, but Lily realizes they live in two different worlds. She puts the ring on his finger and tells him to treasure it. Then asks if she can come back again tomorrow. Jack says he will always be there for her, and Lily returns to her home to her responsibilities. Jack happily runs off into the sunset, hailed by the forest fairies and the revived unicorns.
I think.
Okay, so I misread that. I thought that was she was like, this was like a make believe world for her, but no, she really is a princess. And she's like, no, thanks and all,
but they don't necessarily end up happily ever after.
Yeah, it's like, thanks for all that you did, but I'm high class. You're just a forest boy. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to go and do Dianetics, and I'm going to show you what's what. My thetans are more than your thetans.
I'm also reading that apparently the director's cut makes it a little bit more ambiguous that there is this true balance between good and evil. Like, I don't know what that means. I haven't seen the director's cut, but this says that Ebert agreed on a second viewing when he watched the director's cut with many fans on how it was intended to question the balance between good and evil and gives the main characters moral flaws to display the imperfections of humans. So whatever that means, I don't know. I'd have to see the director's cut.
I feel like that's. I feel like
this movie is plenty long enough.
But
honestly,
but to me, like the movie, the theatrical is there's a clearly like good and evil, and and good won this round, but evil's gonna still hanging out and will challenge it again one day.
Yeah, that's what we get at the end of this. Yeah.
But apparently the director's cut is doesn't come down on that side, because even the European version did not have that stinger that came out the same time. They didn't have the laugh, the devil laugh stinger like the one we watched does, the American theatrical.
Right.
So I don't know. I would like to watch it again with the Goldsmith soundtrack, because I've heard from mostly Goldsmith worshippers that it's better. But man, I really like the Tangerine Dream.
Yeah, I did too.
I think it's pretty good.
I like it a lot.
I think it helps because, like, okay, one thing I will sort of agree with Siskel's take here in the critical response section here. It does feel a little dreamlike, and I think Tangerine Dream helps with that.
There's an etherealness to
it. But I don't agree with Gene Siskel with this half-star review. Akin to recalling a bad dream. I don't want to remember any more about Legend than to make sure to include it in my worst films of 1986 list.
I don't think Siskel really liked these. He didn't like Neverending Story. I don't know what he thought of The Hensons, but I don't get the sense that he really liked movies like this.
Well, I
Whereas
think
Ebert was a lot kinder to movies like this.
Oh, absolutely. Siskel, there was a bit. Siskel had a real bad trigger on him about children ever being displayed as being in danger.
Sweet.
So fantasy often does that a lot with kids, and that's that
He must have
I'm not
fucking
surprised
hated the 80s. Because
well,
that's all it was.
Yeah, he kind of did.
Kind of the 80s, actually.
He was the stuffier of the two.
For sure.
Even because in Ebert's review, it doesn't work for him, but he still says there's so much about it that's right. It just doesn't. It was kind of like how I felt about Labyrinth. All the pieces are there, but it doesn't add up for me.
It's funny. He says it has no clear idea of its own mission and no joy in its own accomplishment. It's like, I agree with that a lot. That's very well put.
Yeah, I will say that the difference between this and Neverending Story is that, yes, this movie is much darker. Even in the brightness, I don't feel any joy like I do with Neverending Story.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jason?
No, I just wholeheartedly agree with that assessment. It's kind of perfect. I love the artistry of this movie. Like, oh my gosh. And again, Rob Bottin, he came onto this movie after The Thing, and he was excited to do this movie because it was going to give him the opportunity to create characters. Like, he had a lot of leeway. So he built a lot of the look of these characters from scratch, which is, it's astounding. Like, he's so talented. And it's just beautiful. Like, the darkness is one of the most beautifully menacing creations ever put on film. Like,
it's awesome.
I mean,
like,
it's so
with practical effects. Like, it's just unreal.
I mean, like it looks so good. It looks real.
Yeah,
like it looks like that's a real creature. I mean, like it looks like a living, breathing, like real creature.
You try to imagine Tim Curry's face in there. Like, how do they make his mouth so big? His mouth isn't that big. Like, how is his face so big and his mouth still looks? I don't know.
Looking at
proportionally,
the pictures,
it's wild.
looking at the pictures and like how they did the horns and everything. It's just, it's awesome. It is awesome. Like, that is just pure creativity. I love it.
I mean, they would never make this movie with that character not being CG these days. I mean,
you'll like this. So weirdly, is it Robert Picardo? Is that his name? He played Meg Muckbrook or something. Is that her name in this?
the
Meg Mucklebones. Yeah, the weird like kind of mud monster who wanted to eat
Reminded me of a witch, a bog
Yeah,
witch.
very
Yeah, that was
witch-like.
a scary ass scene. That's a scary creature.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she calls him. She's like, come to me, juicy boy." It's like, ugh, ugh, this is gross.
Well,
But she was played by Robert Picardo, which is kind of wild. But Robert Ricardo was not the first pick for that. You know who the first pick was, Jeff? Without looking, Richard O'Brien.
oh, cool. Well, that would,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Tim Curry couldn't get his buddy from Rocky Horror.
This is the funny thing. When Ridley Scott was casting, he went and he watched Rocky Horror because he wanted Richard O'Brien, and that's how he saw Tim Curry. And he was like, "Oh, I want Tim Curry for Darkness." Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
That's
cool.
amazing. Yeah, that's
Fortuitous.
pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think this movie, the simpleness of this movie is what I feel like is appealing to younger people back then. But it's the visuals and it's some of there are a few elements, maybe not quite as many as there have been in previous movies this month, but as an adult, I can understand it's like, yeah, it's not going to land quite the same way. But I also agree with you, Jason. This is the best looking movie. It's just, it's unfortunate that the visuals don't live up to, or that the plot can't live up to the visuals.
Yeah, it just kind of drags at times for me,
Which is weird because it's 89 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just not well paced. It's trying to rely a lot on, hey, look at all the pretty things, and that only works some of the time.
And also, at times, it does feel like there is some connective tissue missing.
Yeah,
Like you don't ever really feel like you know the characters all that well.
I'm curious enough to go watch the director's cut. I just think there might be something there that I respond to. So I will take it upon myself to do that at some point.
All right, report back on your findings.
I will report back.
Chuck, how do you feel?
I like it and I hate it.
Okay.
I don't really hate it, but there were scenes in this movie, like we talked about, when he dove in and the water and everything froze over and everyone's yelling. I'm like, this is just too fucking much.
Yeah.
Right now, it's too much. And then it goes into, like Jason said, like times where I'm just like, nothing is happening. Why is it dragging like this? So
It's astounding that it could be so underwhelming but look so magnificent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah. It's weird. Yeah.
Chuck, you teased last week that you have a story about wanting your kids to watch this movie with you.
oh yeah. This is
a good way to finish this episode, I think.
It's gonna make my child seem very superficial. But I showed Brinley the trailer. This is my youngest. And she's like, "Is that Tom Cruise with long hair?" Ooh, no, I'm out. That's how she just, I think that, like, there's more to why she won't watch it. She's not a big fantasy kid anyway. And
Yeah, that really limits what genres you watch in your household. You don't like sci-fi. She doesn't like fantasy.
I said I'm not a huge sci-fi fan. Doesn't mean I won't watch them. I picked a whole good month of them.
Well, you did. You did.
Yeah, it did.
You did.
But yeah, like
Is it Tom Cruise? Is it the long hair? What is it? What's the beef?
Yeah, did you dig into that at all?
Gross. She said it's gross. So I think she just doesn't like him with long hair.
Well, my comment was that she must have seen Mission Impossible 2 or something,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah, he's got long hair in that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only other movie I could think of. Magnolia.
Magnolia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids these days, though, they wear socks with their Birkenstocks
Whoa! What?
and like stuff we would never do.
They do. I was reading an article just recently where kids are making, like Gen Z is making fun of adults for wearing socks that you can see in shoes, but they'll wear socks in their Birkenstocks. Is that
They
true?
wear socks and Birkenstocks. They won't wear no shows.
What?
They wear
I thought they do wear no shows.
No,
They're the opposite. They're making fun of us because we wear no shows.
I think so.
Now?
I mean, at
They're
least
just wrong. They're
Brinley's
just
age.
empirically wrong. Socks suck, kids. They're terrible. Yeah.
Dude, this is funny. Sorry.
It took us so long to get rid of socks.
I went to Brinley's basketball game, and it was in the fall, and I'm wearing my flip-flops, and one of her teammates is like, yo, does your dad have his dogs hanging out? Talking about me not wearing socks.
So they don't like seeing feet.
Yeah, they don't like seeing feet. At least
this is gonna encourage like a whole new generation of foot fetish, by the way. Because the more you hide the thing, the more it becomes a fetish. So Gen Z will be like plagued with
Wait, is this Gen Z or is this Gen Alpha? This is Gen Alpha.
Is this Gen Alpha? Or
she's on the back end of Gen Z.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gen Alpha is like a year later, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get caught up in that really.
That's so funny. Whoa. Okay. Well. Huh.
I want to see that article though and see what
I didn't read it, but it's a New York Times article and I didn't read it. I just assumed that they were making fun of adults that showed their socks. But apparently it's the opposite, which is blowing my goddamn mind right now.
Yeah.
No shows. That's the only way to go.
And well, what do kids know, right?
They have
nothing.
Kids are weird, man.
I know they are.
Is your dad's dogs hanging out?
They can't even call them feet.
Who the hell
knew?
Dogs. Who the hell knew? We can't like show our damn feet. Oh my god, that's killing me.
Well, to be fair, I don't want to see your guys' feet either, so it's like it's fine. Bunch of fucking hobbits.
You get the right pair of flops, it's more comfortable than sneakers.
Anyway,
anything in the world. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so I think we did it. I think we did it. Keith, how did we do? Did we do good? We do good?
Yeah, let us know, Keith. I'm really honestly looking for, because I know we went a little crazy on some. I'm sorry if I interrupted someone there, but
no.
Let us know.
Yeah.
You're after Keith. Oh wait.
Keith, shut up. I'm talking.
Wait, Keith. Wait,
Keith, hold on. I got more.
I'm sure Keith will have 2 or 3 sentences of biting criticism, and I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait.
He did call our contact episode heated discussion, which that was accurate. It was, anyway,
it took a weird turn, but it was
it took a weird turn. It's all right. It's fine. It's what we do this for. Anyway, I think I was quite happy revisiting these movies.
Same.
Me too.
Yeah.
Same.
And I think that there are a few other ones that would someday like to make its way onto here, like Clash of the Titans would be great.
Ooh.
I would go for another Sword and the Sorcerer.
Jason and the Argonauts.
Well, that's a little earlier,
that'd be
that'd be
two
good.
Harryhausen's then, because wasn't it Harryhausen on Clash?
Clash of the Titans was his final movie. Anyway, yeah. So maybe we'll do that someday. But you know what next month is?
Spooky.
It's spooky time.
It's about to get spooky. We got the perfect lead into spooky time.
Hell yeah! Because next week we have something else that has horns, and like Darkness, it has black in its title or in its name.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yep. Yes. Yep. So we kick off Spooky Month with The Witch because Robert Eggers has got more stuff coming.
He does.
He does. I can't wait.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Yep. I am going to go do that on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. Hell yeah. Oh, I'm absolutely.
Or Christmas Eve night. One or the other.
Yeah.
Oof. Santa Claus, you know where to find me when midnight comes.
It's been a minute since I've been that excited for like a Christmas Eve showing of something. Ooh, wait.
Anyway, so so we kick things off with The Witch. That will be Wednesday, October 2nd. Spooky time is upon us. So tune in at filmseizure.com where you can find all the places you can listen to our show on the various podcast sites, as well as where you can find us on social media. Also at filmseizure.com on Monday, September 30th, it is the 300th episode of Monster Mondays, and there's really only one movie I could pick. Godzilla -1. Yep. Yeah. Godzilla -1. So, all the same places. Go to filmseizure.com and check that out. This upcoming weekend at my website, bmovieenema.com, on Friday, September 27th, I have a review of A Brilliant Disguise, which is almost a good movie, but it fails at every turn to take the good side, the good path. And then on Saturday, new episode of B Movie Enema, the series, Santo and Blue Demon versus the Monsters. Let's get those luchadors in here.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So
yeah.
I think we had a pretty fantastical month, and I think we have a pretty horrific month coming up in all the best possible ways.
Better be.
Yes.
Better be.
Yep. So anyway, until then, I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I am Chuck Moore.
And I'm Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.